Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. live English news edition, the top stories. Back pro activities and competence validation workshop. Chad sends 1,200 soldiers to the three border zone. Hello, welcome again. Welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. The national representation makes in the pedagogy and education of living forces of tomorrow, as usual, and in line with the increased policy of sensitization and institutional popularization promoted by the president of the parliamentary institution. About 30 of our young citizens enrolled in middle and high school in the region of Tajro and Oboh, and their teachers were able to familiarize themselves with the place and role of the House of People. The event, which took place on the sideline of the sustained parliamentary agenda of February 15, began with the meeting of the President of the Assembly, Mohammed Ali Ahmed, and took place with a visit to the various structures that make up the Parliament. Throughout this pedagogical outing, the young people and their educational staff were able to take advantage of the exchanges with the Speaker and the various guides who were on the tour to perfect their knowledge about the parliamentary institution and its contribution to democracy and good governance. The prize-winning students of the CEM of Randa and colleague of Tajura, accompanied by their principals, Mr. Ahmed Jabir Garat and Mrs. Halima Shahim Ahmed, were received by the Minister of Budget, Mr. Abdulkarim Aden Asher, in his office. The minister congratulated and encouraged the young laureates from the region. This meeting allowed the young people to discover the workings and regalian mission of the Ministry of Budget. In short, it was a successful day. Most eagerly awaited event at the national level. The first job fair will open its door tomorrow at the forecourt of the People's Palace. Several stands of the different companies in the square are getting ready to welcome young people looking for work. This national job fair forum will be the largest job forum. The main objective of this event will be to promote opportunities for integration in Djibouti, especially for young people, job interviews and networking with employers, training with but also a pitch contest. This fair accompanies a job forum that begins the day after tomorrow. Within the framework of health cooperation in combat for COVID-19, Japan has granted a large batch of equipment to the Republic of Djibouti. The reception ceremony took place this morning at PK12 in the presence of the new ambassador of Japan, the Honorable Otsuka Omiyo, the General Secretary of Health, Dr. Salah Bunete Turab, and many officials of the Department of Health. This is an exceptional gift that the Kingdom of Rising Sun has graciously offered to our country to support effort to improve and strengthen the medical care of COVID-19. This set of materials and equipment is composed of mobile X-rays, central monitors, ultrasound machines, suction units, hospital beds, centrifuges, and many other accessories intended for a better therapeutic management in the hospital environment. In addition, this Japanese donation is also accompanied by the provision of several ambulances for the safe and sanitized transport of patients with COVID-19. The Japanese ambassador indicated that this donation is part of the international solidarity for the fight against coronavirus. He added that the unprecedented scale of this important donation is a perfect illustration of the solidity of the fraternal ties between our two nations. For his part, the General Secretary of Health thanked Japan on behalf of the government of Djibouti and the Ministry of Health for this gesture of solidarity, which contributes to enhance the intensity of the national response in the different phases of the management due to the COVID-19. This morning, February 15, 2021, at the People's Palace opened the workshop to validate a revised training repository for the BAC Pro called Repository of Activity and Skills, shared by the General Secretary of MENFOB, Mr. Mohamed Abdullah Mahyoub. This workshop was officially attended by the Deputy Representative of USAID, Mr. Alpha Diallo, the Inspector General of the ETFP, Mr. Mahdi Omar, the Minister Abdul Qadir Ahmed, and senior official of MENFOB. Also present were the team of the Djiboutian Manpower Employability Project, which implements the project funded by the U.S. government through USAID. Industrial companies from Djibouti were also present to take part in the discussion on the benchmarks. USAID through the PED seeks to increase the quality of technical and vocational education programs in order to strengthen the technical skills of teachers and students. The Deputy Representative of USAID recalled the objective sought by this workshop, namely a dialogue with the private sector so that the benchmarks developed can correspond to the qualification and skills expected by local businesses. For his part, the General Secretary of MENFOB recalled the course of curriculum development, which starts with the drafting and validation of training standards, which then leads to the technical training of teachers as well as the purchase of appropriate equipment and transposition of learning. According to him, in the end, this process should lead future TVET. After the official speech, the invited companies and the MENFOB team discussed the different pedagogical content of the BAC Pros. The Secretary General Minister indicated that the curriculum development process that begins with the formulation of training benchmarks leads to the provision of high-quality technical training courses for teachers and the purchase of appropriate materials. Now, the Ministry of Women and Family, in collaboration with UNICEF, launched Monday, February 16, 2021, in Djibouti Palace Kempinski, a 3-day training workshop for members of the platform for case management of child protection cases from 16 to 18 February 2021. This training brought together the various members of the platform, such as UNICEF, the UNFD, the Juvenile Judge, the National Police, the National Agency for Disabled Persons, Caritas, Dariel, the State Secretary for Youth and Sport, the Ministry of Health, and the SOS Village. The objective of this training was to improve the functioning of the platform holistic care of protection cases. This training workshop for the actors of this platform aims to strengthen the collaboration between the actors for a better identification and a better multi-sectoral care of children who need additional protection in 2020. The MFF adopted a real national child protection policy to strengthen the functioning of the care platform. Another national news now, as part of the regular maritime surveillance operation in Djiboutian territorial water, a team of the Djiboutian Coast Guard patrolling in the area of Dalai intercepted during the day of February 15, 2021, around 14:30 a Yemeni boat Yamaha type in illegal fishing activity in carrying hundreds of kilos of fish caught illegally in our territorial waters. The illegal coach project shows traces of the use of underwater hunting rifles, fishing instrument prohibited in the fishing legislation of our country. This fishing practice is detrimental to the marine environment and causes a massive migration of fish. 3 members of Yemeni crews in default of their stay in our country were arrested during this operation. The Coast Guard is relentlessly pursuing its effort to put an end to the activities of these traffickers who plunder our fishing resources in quantity. The investigation has been entrusted to the Coast Guard Research, Investigation and Judicial Affairs Brigade, and these individuals will be brought to justice while the boat will be seized at the fishing port pending a court decision. Now, the NPH, the National Agency for the Disabled Person, in collaboration with UNICEF, hosted this morning at the headquarters of the Regional Council of Ali Sabih a workshop to launch a focus group on the socio-cultural determinants of disabilities. The ceremony of this workshop took place in the presence of the President of the National Network of Disabled Persons, Idris Mumin, the Director of Prevention, Communication and Cooperation of the Disability Agency, Mrs. Mona Abu Bakr, the moderator, Mr. Ragi Abdi, and members of the disability community. The initiative is part of the joint project advancing the rights of persons with special needs in Djibouti, funded by UNPRPD. A partnership between UN agencies and the National Agency for Disabled Persons was signed in 2018 to advance the rights of persons with special needs. This partnership between the NAPD and the sister UN agency is committed to transforming the lives of people with disabilities, ensuring that they have access to opportunities and are able to realize their potential. Now we have just learned the death of Zainab Barkhat Fure. The deceased has returned to her final heavenly resting place after a long illness. A loving woman, inexhaustible source of blessings, wife of the engineer Said Duale Idle. She had 10 children and 13 grandchildren behind her, including Suban Said Duale, our colleague from the written press La Nation. We pray to the Most High Allah to inspire her with patience, comfort and consolation. May Allah the Almighty welcome her in His eternal paradise and make her grave a foretaste of paradise. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Moving now into international news, the summit of the G5 heads of state opened this Monday, February 15, expanded to include several other countries in the region and partners such as the European Union and Arab countries. The summit looks at the future of the body whose mission is to eradicate terrorism in this part of Africa. Chadian President Idris Deby Itno announced on Monday, February 15, the dispatch of 1,200 soldiers to the so-called three-border zone between Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso to fight against jihadists on the sidelines of the G5 Sahel summit in N'Djamena. According to a tweet from the presidency, beyond Chad's efforts, there is a need to mobilize for an increase in troops stretching. The chairman of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki Mohamed, pledged to work on this. Our constant advocacy will continue for the mobilization of resources and the strengthening of the joint G5 Sahel force in coordination with the Executive Secretary. On the agenda of the second day of the summit, security issues, but also the development of this part of Africa prey to the terrorist threat that extend to the East and West African seaboards. This is it for this edition of 9 p.m. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful evening.